Maybe you don't say it out loud, but you feel it deep inside. Why hasn't God given me a partner yet? What's wrong with me? You prayed. You got your hopes up. Your heart was broken. You watched doors close again and again. And in silence, you slowly started to believe that God has already forgotten about you. But listen to me carefully. Your singleness is not a punishment. It's not an accident. And it is definitely not a failure. What you call rejection right now is often God removing from your path people who would have destroyed your peace, your purpose, and even your faith. In this message, I am going to reveal 5 hidden truths about why God hasn't given you a partner yet. And number 4 is something almost no one dares to say, but it can literally save you from marrying the wrong person. If at any point you've thought, maybe the problem is me, stay until the end. Because when you understand what God is doing in this season, you will never look at your singleness the same way again. Now take a deep breath for a moment. This is not just another video to entertain you for a few minutes. This is a serious conversation between your heart and the voice of God speaking through these words. And if at any moment in this message you feel like God is talking directly to you, I'm going to ask you for something very simple. Don't leave. Stay until the end. Because many of the answers you've been searching for years can be brought into order inside of you today. First, I want you to think about this. You're not hearing this by accident. With all the content out there, with all the things you could be watching right now, there is a reason your ears are here in this moment. God knows exactly how to reach you, and sometimes He uses precisely the area that hurts the most to get your attention. That pain in your chest when you see others moving forward in love is not just sadness. It's also a sign that you desire to love well, and that you don't want to live numb, settling for just anything. Maybe you've repeated phrases to yourself like, "My time has probably already passed. Everyone finds someone except me. There must be something broken inside of me." You've watched couples form, weddings on social media, perfect pictures, forever promises, and you feel like you're always the guest, never the main character. But there is something no one explained to you that God wants to make clear today. Many times, when it looks like everyone is moving forward and you're not, it's not because God forgot about you. It's because God is dealing with you in a deeper way. The first hidden truth you need to hear is that God has kept you single to protect your destiny from wrong relationships. Your singleness is not rejection, it's redirection. It's not that heaven has closed its ears to your prayers, it's that heaven saw things you didn't see. Think about those people who once looked like the perfect answer. They spoke to you beautifully, they gave you attention, they made you feel seen. Maybe you even pictured a future with them, and suddenly, everything collapsed. The text that never came, the call that never happened, the interest that faded, doors that closed in painful and humiliating ways. For a long time, you believed it was a personal failure, that you didn't know how to take care of the relationship, that you weren't enough. But what if the story is different? Imagine that one day, years later, you could clearly see the true condition of that person's heart. Imagine discovering that behind their soft words, there was manipulation you couldn't yet recognize, that their real priorities were never going to respect your peace, that their decisions would have pulled you far away from what God wanted to build with you. That relationship would have drained your energy, your time, your mind, and your faith, leaving you empty. There are decisions that only look dangerous when it's already too late. That's why sometimes God answers your prayer for love by closing the very doors you were begging Him to open. When someone leaves without an explanation, when that bond breaks right, when it seemed like things were finally falling into place, many times it wasn't just that person deciding on their own. It was God stepping in front of you, blocking a future that would have wounded you. Maybe today you remember a specific person, the message, the call, the date that never happened, the relationship that looked ideal and ended in silence. If, while you're listening to this, a particular name comes to mind, that's not a coincidence. It has a sign that God wants to show you that what you called loss wasn't a loss, it was protection. And here I want to ask you for something. If this thought is already beginning to click in your heart, if suddenly some stories from your past are starting to look different, I want you to take a small step of courage. When you get the chance, go to the comments and write, "It wasn't rejection, it was protection. It's not for me, it's for you." It's a way of saying to God, "I recognize that you saved me from something I couldn't see." That simple decision helps you stop fighting your story and start being grateful for doors you once cried over when they closed. There is a second hidden truth God wants you to understand. before He trusts you with someone else's heart. He wants your heart to be deeply anchored in Him. Many people think singleness is an empty space, a waiting hallway, dead time, until the right person finally shows up. But in reality, it's the exact opposite. It's one of the most important workshops of your entire life. In this season, God is working on the part no one sees: your thoughts, your wounds, your reactions, your fears. He is using what looks like loneliness to teach you how to hear His voice without noise, to trust when no one is applauding you, to stand when there is no one beside you holding you up. Because the truth is, many people enter a relationship hoping to be completed, expecting another human being to fill the emptiness only God can fill. And when that happens, what's created isn't healthy love, it's dependence disguised as love. Think about this. If today everything around you fell apart, if your friendships changed, if your plans shifted, what are you really standing on? On other people's opinions? On the validation you receive? On your fear of being alone? Or on the certainty that God is still the one writing your story, even when you don't understand every chapter? Your singleness is not the absence of love. It's the opportunity to redefine love at the right source. It's the moment when you learn that peace doesn't come from a good morning text, but from a presence that doesn't leave just because you turn off your phone. It's the time when God teaches you to enjoy His company without needing to fill every silence with noise. When your identity becomes solid in God, you stop demanding that someone else make you feel valuable all the time. You stop requiring another person to prove every single day that they won't abandon you. You start understanding that healthy love doesn't grow out of the fear of losing someone, but out of the freedom of sharing who you already are in Him. And here is the key. God doesn't want you to hand over your life to someone from a place of emptiness, but from a place of fullness. Many people want to skip this process. They want the pretty picture, the rings, the promises, but not the inner work. They want someone to hold them up, but they don't want to learn how to be held up by God. That's why, when God sees that you're still building your foundation, He often chooses to delay certain connections so you don't use that relationship as a crutch. Because when you lean your entire life on another human being, sooner or later, you both fall. Maybe you've complained about this season. You've said, "I'm tired of waiting. I don't want to be alone. There's no point in believing anymore." But there's something you're not fully seeing while you complain. God is reinforcing your foundations, cleaning out ideas that would have sabotaged you later, healing insecurities that, if not treated now, would have destroyed a future home. I want you to hear this clearly. This season is not wasted time. It is invested time. Every tear you've cried asking, "Why am I still alone?" is watering seeds of maturity, discernment, and strength. What hurts today will be part of your testimony tomorrow. Before we continue, I'm going to ask you to do something very simple. If you feel like this message is describing what you've lived, but you're still battling thoughts of comparison and frustration, choose to pause inside for a moment. Tell God in your own words, right where you are, "I don't understand everything, but I trust that this process makes sense in your hands." That sentence, even if it seems small, opens space for you to stop fighting this season and start walking through it with Him. The third hidden truth is that God is not just preparing you for a person, He is preparing you for a shared purpose. Many people see a relationship as the final goal: fall in love, get married, build a family, and that's it. But from God's perspective, a bond like that is much more than companionship. It's a covenant that impacts destiny. Think about this. Not everyone you re-attracted to is designed to move forward with you in what God wants to build through your life. Some people may admire your light, but they're not ready to walk with the weight that light carries. Others may say they love what you do, but would grow tired of the price that comes with it. That's why God is very careful about who He allows to sit next to you on the journey. Maybe you have a calling to serve, to create, to lift others up, to speak to broken people, to influence in some way. That is not a small detail. The person who walks with you can amplify that calling or slowly shut it down. They can help you move closer to what God dreamed with you, or pull you into a comfortable but empty life where you exist only so you don't bother anyone. Imagine a life where everything God put inside you stays halfway, because you chose a relationship based only on chemistry and emotion, without ever asking, "Are we aligned in purpose?" Imagine how far you could have gone if you had had someone next to you who, instead of asking you to tone yourself down, reminded you who you are every time you doubted. That is what God is saving for you. Not just someone who makes you feel loved, but someone who understands the fire inside you. Someone who joins your mission instead of competing with it. Someone who can look at you tired, frustrated, and still say, "Keep going. You didn't come this far to give up now." In the meantime, in this season, God is sharpening your vision. He is teaching you to recognize who comes only to take and who shows up to give as well. He is showing you the difference between those who say "I'm with you" and those who actually stay in the storm. He's training you to discern between a shallow connection and someone who can truly walk with you for the long haul. And here's an important detail. When God joins stories, He doesn't do it so that you dim each other's light, but so that together you reflect something bigger than both of you. That's why, many times, the delay you see is not a lack of response. It's God moving pieces, processes, and timing on both sides, so that when you meet, you don't destroy each other, you build each other. Right now you might be thinking, "But I don't have a big purpose. I don't preach. I don't do impressive things." Let me tell you something. Purpose doesn't always show up on stages or with microphones. It also shows up in the way you love, in how you lift others up, in how you raise children who will know God, in how you choose to be light in a dark environment. Don't minimize what's inside of you, because for that, too, you need the right person. I want you to keep something in your mind. Your life is not on hold waiting for someone. Your life is already moving, and God wants you to keep advancing, growing, learning, building, while He prepares the right encounter at the right time. Don't put your purpose on pause while you wait for a relationship, because many times, it's exactly when you walk in what you were called to do that you cross paths with those who are heading in the same direction. The fourth hidden truth, the one almost no one dares to say, is this. God has kept you single to heal you and teach you how to tell the difference between real companionship and empty companionship. There are silences that reveal more than 1,000 words. There are nights when, even if your phone is silent, God's voice is shouting on the inside. Many times, you've looked for someone to make you feel accompanied because you were afraid to face yourself. You've filled spaces with conversations, outings, and messages just so you wouldn't have to listen to what your heart really feels. And God has been pulling you away from certain people so that you would finally hear yourself. There is a huge difference between being alone and feeling alone. Being alone can be an external state. Feeling alone is an internal interpretation. God has used what looks like loneliness to teach you that you have never truly been abandoned. He's been there in those nights of silent tears, in those days when you felt like no one understood you. He has used that lack of human company to reveal the depth of His presence with you. When you don't understand this, you become vulnerable to any attention that's offered to you. You confuse constant messages with genuine love. You confuse passing interest with real commitment. And you end up handing parts of your heart to people who were only passing through, because your biggest fear wasn't making a mistake, was feeling that emptiness again. That's why this truth hurts, but it heals. God has allowed you to be without certain people so that you learn to enjoy His presence, so that you know how to be by yourself without feeling abandoned, so that you can look at an entire day without messages and still have peace, so that you stop needing attention to feel like you are worth something. When He accomplishes this in you, when you learn to be okay in His presence, something inside you changes. You stop chasing people. You stop texting those who only half answer you, just so you don't run out of conversation. You stop accepting emotional crumbs, because you understand that if God is with you, you don't have to beg for love. And here I want to challenge you. If you recognize that many times you've settled for lukewarm relationships, for people who didn't truly care for you, just so you wouldn't feel alone, make a new commitment with God. Promise that you will no longer lower your emotional standards out of fear of silence. Promise that you will no longer give your heart to someone who only gives you moments, but never a place. When the right person comes, you'll be able to notice the difference, because their presence will not pull you away from God. It will draw you closer. They won't demand that you switch off who you are. They will encourage you to grow. They won't play with your insecurities. They'll help you heal them. And you, having gone through this process, will also be able to love without using the other person as anesthesia. The fifth hidden truth is that God is aligning His perfect timing with your story, even if you feel like everything is moving too slowly. We live in a rushed world where it seems like if you don't marry by a certain age, you've already missed your chance. You compare yourself to friends, family members, people on social media who already have partners, children, and formed families, and you think, I'm the one who got left behind, but God's timing is not measured by the same rules the world uses. There are processes that take longer because the result will be deeper. Sometimes God seems to take his time, not because he's indifferent, but because he's doing something that requires detail. Think of a story. To people who today are ready to love each other well, might have been a disaster together 5 years ago. Maybe one of them was still trapped in destructive thoughts, addictions, or immaturity. Maybe the other was still trying to validate themselves through other people. If they had met then, they would have hurt each other. But by waiting, by being processed, by healing separately, their meeting at the right time becomes a blessing, not chaos. That's what you often can't see from your perspective. You only see calendars, dates, and other people's weddings. God sees processes, wounds, healing, growth, and lessons learned. While you say, I want it to happen now, he says, I'm still preparing the stage so that when it happens, it can last. Maybe you feel like your life is on pause, but it's not stopped. It's under construction. Every not yet from God has a reason that one day you'll understand clearly. And it is very likely that there will come a moment when you look back and thank him for not letting you join your life to people, or to seasons, that you would have chosen out of desperation. I want you to picture something. Imagine the day when, finally, you meet the person God truly wants you to walk with. Imagine an honest, deep conversation where you find out that they also went through deserts, waiting seasons, and nights of tears. Imagine realizing that if you had met earlier, neither of you would have been ready to hold what you will now be able to build together. In that moment, so many pieces of your story will fall into place, and you'll understand that what looked late in your eyes was actually right on time in God's eyes. While that day comes, don't just sit with your arms crossed. This is not a call to wait passively. It is a call to wait actively, to keep healing, to keep growing, to keep working on your character, to keep moving forward in what God has already placed in your hands today. Because the waiting is not an empty hallway, it's part of the path. I told you at the beginning, your singleness is not rejection, it's preservation. It's not abandonment, it's alignment. It's not punishment, it's care. God doesn't have you single to mock you. He has you in process because he deeply values what he is going to entrust to your hands. If you've made it this far, it's not by accident. It means that, in spite of the exhaustion and frustration, there is still something inside you that believes. There is a part of your heart that hasn't given up on the idea of a healthy, real love that's aligned with what God wants for your life, and that is precious. I'm going to ask you to do something very specific. When you finish listening to this message, if you feel that God spoke to you at any point, go to the comments and write just one phrase. I trust God's timing for my life. That's more than a comment, it's an act of faith. It's you agreeing with heaven even if your mind doesn't understand all the details. And if you know someone who today feels broken, forgotten, convinced that their singleness is a curse, don't keep this message to yourself. Share it. Maybe for you this was confirmation, but for that person it could be a lifeline. If you want to keep receiving words that challenge you, heal you, and remind you of what God is doing in your story, subscribe and stay close. Not because I have all the answers, but because together we're going to keep discovering what God wants to say to this generation. Remember this before you go. You are not behind, you are right on God's timing. You're not extra, you're being prepared. You're not the one who got left, you're the one being protected. And when the moment comes when God says now, you'll understand that every tear, every no, every silence, and every night feeling alone were part of a plan so much bigger than what you can see today. Until that day, don't stop believing. Don't lower your standards out of fear of losing something. Don't hand your heart to just anyone so you won't feel empty. Keep allowing God to shape you, heal you, and align you. Because when he writes a story, he doesn't write it to end in ruins. He writes it so that, at the end, you can look back and say, every second of waiting was worth it. And yes, just in case there is still one last doubt in your mind, let me say it to you one more time. It's not that God doesn't want to give you a partner. It's that he is waiting for the perfect moment to give you something that won't destroy what he has worked so hard to build in you, but will complete it, honor it, and project it even further. That day will come. Until then, trust, because even if you can't see it right now, God is still in control of your story.